What begins as a routine military exercise quickly devolves into a desperate fight for survival against an unknown, alien threat that could spell the end of humanity. The movie opens in Kandahar, Afghanistan. A sapper patrol is on its way to assist a stranded convoy after its lead armored vehicle breaks down. When they arrive, a staff sergeant, who is also a combat engineer, steps out and immediately starts yelling, "Who's responsible for this mess? Who's calling me a meathead? You ruined my morning pass." The two quickly break into a playful scuffle before laughing it off. One of the confused soldiers asks if they know each other. The two men reveal matching tattoos and then explain that they're brothers. They greet each other warmly before the staff sergeant gets to work on the truck. As he repairs it, he gives his brother a quick lesson in thermodynamics, mocking the unit for using stop leak. "When you fill these trucks with stop leak, you block the vents. Heat can't escape. Pressure builds until the radiator blows. You listen to this, Donnie? I know it was you. Mechanics keep ratting you out." The mood shifts slightly as his brother admits this isn't what he wants to do. He says he wants to be on the front lines, kicking down doors like they always talked about, instead of being stuck here. When asked what he means, he reveals he's talking about the Rangers Assessment and Selection Program, RASP. RASP. "You know, we always said don't quit. What are we doing now? Quitting." The staff sergeant initially dismisses the idea. "Rangers are hardcore. I'm getting old. You're ugly." "Oh, I checked the cutoff. We're good, bro. You want to be a ranger? Go be a ranger. You don't need my permission. I wanted to do it together, like we promised each other, bro. We were 18. Come on, man." Just imagine you and me earning our ranger scrolls, running across the tarmac, first boots on the ground from Blackhawks. It does sound pretty awesome. All right, you're in. I'm in. You promise. Always. As the staff sergeant walks back to his truck, the Taliban launches an attack on the convoy. Mortars hit his brother's truck, then rain down across the convoy. In the chaos, the staff sergeant tries to reach his brother, but another explosion knocks him to the ground. Moments later, he regains consciousness and realizes a piece of shrapnel lodges in his knee. He pulls it out, and despite the searing pain, limps towards the wreckage. He finds everyone dead, finally reaching his brother, who is barely clinging to life. 2 years later, he jolts awake on a bus, on his way to Ranger training camp in Colorado. Before getting off the bus, he takes medication for PTSD. Upon arrival, candidates are marched into an induction hall, ordered to surrender personal belongings, and told they will no longer be addressed by name, only by assigned numbers. One by one, candidates receive their numbers. A drill sergeant, noticing one is already a technical sergeant, assigns him as a team leader. As an E6, you're assigned team leader. State your consent. Yes, sergeant. You're now number 7. In another line, the staff sergeant's record reveals he was denied RASP entry 4 times due to his knee injury, only now making it just before the age cutoff. Seeing his rank, the instructor offers him a team leader role. As an E6, you will be assigned team leader. State your consent. I'd rather not, he replies, earning him the number 81. Sergeant Major Sheridan then addresses the group. He explains that Army Rangers are the spearhead of the U.S. Army, the first boots on the ground, and that the success of missions, even the fate of the nation and its allies, often rests on their shoulders. He informs them they are about to undergo 8 weeks of one of the toughest selection programs in the world, where their physical strength, mental endurance, and emotional resilience will be pushed to their absolute limits. Each week, candidates will be eliminated. Only those who make it to the final stage will face the ultimate test, a brutal 24-hour death march. Those who complete it and cross the finish line will earn the highly coveted Ranger Scroll. With that, the program officially begins. Rangers lead the way. All the way. During the first week, candidates are thrown into intense obstacle courses, and those who cannot keep up are quickly eliminated. Numbers 27-29, step forward, pack your bags, you are non-select. The grueling training continues over the next 3 weeks with even harsher obstacles and exhausting drills. At the end of each week, those who fail to meet the standard are sent home. Numbers 146, 148, 149. Step forward, pack your bags. You are non-select. Now, only 4 weeks remain. During one of the long runs, Candidate 15 starts speculating that if they make it into the regiment, they'll gain access to top-secret information. You'll know what I'm talking about, too. I'm talking moon landings, I'm talking Tupac. The others quickly dismiss him. Candidate 44, who previously worked with the Department of Defense, shuts him down, stating, "I was DOD. I had the clearance. asserting there are no hidden secrets waiting for them. Meanwhile, 81 keeps to himself, breaking away from the group to quietly complete his lap at his own pace, leaving everyone far behind. A drill sergeant asks, "Where's everyone else?" "Candidate behind me, Sergeant," someone replies. On his way back, as he passes the others, 15 jokingly tells him to slow down. "Hey, slow down, Superman. Make the rest of us look bad." Later during lunch, 81 sits alone, eating in silence and avoiding conversation. Another week of training begins, introducing even tougher obstacle courses and hand-to-hand combat drills, both of which 81 handles with ease. During rifle training, a sergeant asks, "Who among you has been deployed?" Candidate 19 replies, 19 Kilo, M1 Abrams crewman, Sergeant. The sergeant scoffs, "A tanker. Maybe you can valet my Lambo." "Where'd you serve?" 109. Candidate 109 answers, "Fort Benning, Sergeant. Basic AIT and airborne, top of the class." The sergeant dismisses him. "Deployments. Candidate. Not potty training. What about you?" 81. 81 responds, 12 Bravo, combat engineer, 213th CSSB, supporting Sapper 3rd Brigade, 10th Mountain Division, Spartans. This time, the sergeant is impressed, responding, "All right." The other candidates turn to look at him with new respect. Later, during lunch, 44 shares 81's story with the group. How he was repairing a stranded convoy when the Taliban attacked, wiping out the entire unit, and leaving him as the sole survivor. Candidate 60 adds that 81 was awarded a Silver Star for his actions. At the same time, news plays in the background, reporting that NASA has discovered a massive interstellar object entering the solar system. Although it's expected to pass close to Earth, officials insist there's no cause for concern. Back at the table, 15 is still in disbelief about 81's Silver Star. "You're telling me that guy won a Silver Star?" "That's what I heard," 44 explains, adding that after the attack, 81 carried his brother nearly 16 kilometers back to base. Someone, likely 15, then asks, "Hey, 81, is it true what happened in Kandahar? I just want to know if he's a hero or not." A drill sergeant intervenes. "Who's talking? Don't tell me that was you." 15, "Are you looking to recycle again?" "It was me," 15 admits. The sergeant declares, "Extra hill climb. Everyone, thank candidate 15." The following week brings even more intense training. During one exercise, a cadre member asks each candidate why they're there. Most give the expected answer that they want to join an elite unit. But when it's 81's turn, he simply states, "To cross that finish line." That night, 7 notices 81 quietly taking medication for PTSD. The next morning, during another long run, the candidates are given a brief 30-second break. 7 spots a tattoo on 81's arm and correctly guesses its meaning. "DFQ, don't quit." "Right. How'd you know that?" 81 asks. "Lucky guess," 7 replies. The following week introduces breaching and assault drills, triggering painful memories for 81. That night, he is haunted by nightmares of the attack in Afghanistan, jolting awake just as a sergeant storms in, ordering everyone up and announcing that the final week has begun. The next challenge takes place in a pool. The candidates must walk underwater while carrying heavy weights. Many surface early, unable to continue, but 81 pushes himself forward, refusing to quit. As he struggles, flashes of the past flood his mind. The explosion, his brother's injuries, and the desperate attempt to carry him back to base. The memory overwhelms him. His body finally gives out, and he loses consciousness underwater. Instructors quickly pull him out and perform CPR, bringing him back to consciousness. "Sapper, you are officially one crazy soldier," an instructor declares. From a distance, Sergeant Major Sheridan and First Sergeant Torres watch the incident unfold. Sheridan concludes that 81 has become a liability and decides it's time to speak with him. Soon after, 81 waits outside Sheridan's office. A news report on TV reveals that the asteroid passing near Earth is beginning to show signs of disintegration. He is then called in. Inside the office, Sheridan tells him that he and Torres have decided it would be best for him to retire from the program. 81 refuses immediately and asks on what grounds. Torres explains that while his physical performance is undeniable, they're concerned about his mental state. He isolates himself, doesn't sleep properly, refuses leadership roles, and struggles to connect with others. Sheridan adds that what he went through in Afghanistan would break most people, and many would take time off to recover and seek therapy. Instead, 81 applied for RASP almost immediately after being discharged. 81 simply repeats that he just wants to cross the finish line. That finish line is a starting line, Sheridan counters. Sheridan acknowledges his potential, but warns him that if they remove him from the program, he'll never be allowed to return. He places a voluntary withdrawal form on the table, urging him to sign it. You're an engineer, so you know even the most powerful machines have their limits, Sheridan states. But 81 refuses, stating he still has a parade to prepare for. That answer frustrates Sheridan, who angrily orders him out. Shortly after, it's time for eliminations. Torres begins calling out numbers, and 81 hears his own. He assumes he's being cut, but Torres says, "Step forward." I'm sorry to say to those of you who did not step forward, pack your bags. You are non-select. Instead, those called are the candidates who have made it to the final stage, the death march. Only a handful remain. Next, Torres briefs the candidates on the final mission, a full simulation. A classified aircraft has supposedly been shot down behind enemy lines, and the Rangers are tasked with a reconnaissance and rescue operation. Their objective is to locate the crash site and destroy the aircraft before it falls into enemy hands. They will be inserted deep into hostile territory by 2 Black Hawk helicopters. From there, they must navigate through the mountains to reach the downed aircraft. After that, their next objective is to locate and rescue the pilot who is being held in a nearby village. Torres explains that their rifles will only fire blanks, and the cadre can ambush them at any time during the mission. The team will also be issued a single VHF radio to send regular situation reports. Torres and Sheridan have already decided to run the final challenge for 81. Torres then announces, Team Leader 7, you're now 2IC, and your new team leader will be 81. The group reacts with mixed emotions. Great, Mr. Finish Line, someone mutters. Torres reminds them they have just 24 hours to complete the mission, rescue the pilot, return to base, and cross the finish line. With that, the death march officially begins. As they prepare, Sheridan asks Torres, "You still think this is a good idea?" Torres replies, "He wants to be a ranger. He's going to have to lead." The team boards 2 Blackhawks, which transport them deep into the Rocky Mountains. As they fly over dense forests, they spot a private quarry below. One of the cadre warns them that encountering it on foot means they've gone completely off course. After rappelling down, the team regroups and begins moving through the forest. When 81 asks for direction, 57 studies the map and determines their target is about 20 kilometers west. 81 sets a timer and simply informs the team how much time they have left, nothing more. Dude, that was awesome. For real. That was inspiring stuff, someone comments. Seeing 81's detached leadership, 7 steps in and asks for permission to address the team. He gives a short motivational talk, reminding everyone they're there for a reason and their goal is to earn the Ranger Scroll together. Rangers lead the way, he shouts, to which the team replies, "All the way." 81 nods in agreement and they continue moving. They climb a rocky mountain and eventually reach the top. As evening fades into night, Candidate 111, who is handling the radio, sends regular situation reports back to the cadre. Afterward, 7 suggests they take a short rest, pointing out that the cadre are likely waiting near the river to ambush them. Resting now could give them an advantage. 81 agrees, allowing only a 20-minute break. While resting, 7 tries to ask 81 a personal question. "Hey, 81, I wanted to talk to you, man." "Is it about the mission?" 81 asks. "No, it's more personal." "I don't want to hear it," 81 cuts him off. Suddenly, a loud blast echoes nearby, and something streaks across the forest. The team assumes it's artillery, signaling that the cadre have spotted them resting. Immediately, 81 orders everyone to grab their gear and keep moving. By morning, they discover a crash site with a strange-looking aircraft. They assume it's their target, and 7 even jokes, "The cadre really went all in with the special effects. Sure looks classified. I think they're going to try to smoke us upriver." 81 orders 111 to send another situation report. He then outlines a plan. The demolition team will plant explosives on the aircraft and detonate them from a safe distance. Expecting the explosion to draw attention, he assigns 4 soldiers as overwatch, splitting them between upstream and downstream positions. But then 57 notices something off. According to the briefing's coordinates, their location is several hundred meters off. He also mentions his compass is behaving strangely. At the same time, 111 reports he's unable to get a proper signal. "All I get is this weird interference." They assume it's part of the simulation and proceed anyway. As everyone moves into position, 81 suddenly notices a faint glint of light in the distance. He quietly signals to 7 that he's going to check it out and disappears into the woods. Meanwhile, the demolition team sets the explosives. Moments later, 81 discovers what appears to be the real target and realizes something is terribly wrong. He immediately turns and runs back to warn the team, but he's too late. The explosives detonate, rocking the area, but to everyone's shock, the blast doesn't even leave a scratch on the aircraft. "Didn't even leave a dent," someone exclaims. Suddenly, the object powers up. What they thought was a crashed aircraft rises into the air, emitting a blue scanning beam that sweeps across the area, then shifts to red as it locks onto the soldiers and opens fire. Chaos erupts. Before they can react, several soldiers are killed. 81 rushes in, shoving 44 out of the way and shouting for everyone to run. The surviving team members scatter into the forest as the machine continues firing at them. They sprint until they reach the edge of a steep hill, a dead end. The machine launches an explosive at them. The blast sends them tumbling down the slope, leaving several badly injured. When they finally hit the bottom, 57 is impaled on a tree branch. Pushing through the pain, 81 gets up and sees his team scattered and broken. He resets his dislocated fingers and immediately begins helping the wounded. He calms down 109, who is panicking, and directs him to assist with 57. Together, they carefully free him from the branch. Then 81 rushes over to 7, whose leg is badly injured, and applies a tourniquet to stop the bleeding. The shaken survivors try to process what just happened. 81 asks about the demolition team. "They're gone, man. They're gone," someone replies. They also realize that 111, who is carrying the radio, has been killed. 7 points out that without the radio, they can't call for help. 81 decides to go back and retrieve it. Carefully moving through the wreckage, he finds 111 dead, and the radio completely destroyed. Just then, 81 notices a wounded soldier crawling nearby. He starts moving toward him, but the machine suddenly reappears. It scans the soldier and instantly kills him. Realizing the danger, 81 retreats and rushes back to regroup with the remaining members of his team. Despite their efforts, 57 doesn't make it and dies on the spot. 81 urgently warns the team that they need to move. The machine is tracking them and actively hunting them. He also confirms 111 is dead and the radio is destroyed. With no way to call for help, staying put means certain death. Without wasting time, they secure ropes along the cliff and begin lowering themselves down one by one. To help with the injured 7, Candidate 6 volunteers to stay behind and carefully lower him, urging 81 to go down first and receive him. As 6 slowly lowers 7, 81 suddenly notices his compass spinning wildly, an immediate sign that the machine is close. Moments later, it appears. The machine opens fire, killing 6 instantly. 7 crashes hard onto the ground below. The machine moves to the edge of the cliff and scans the area, while the remaining team members try to stay hidden at the base. Unfortunately, 7's leg is exposed and the machine detects it. It opens fire again, forcing the team to break cover and run into the forest. When it can't get a clear shot, it launches explosives. The bombs detonate around them, killing and injuring more soldiers. After hours of moving through the forest, the remaining survivors finally stop to rest. It could be the Russians or the Chinese, someone speculates. "The Russians don't have the budget for that kind of tech. The Chinese just copy us," another replies. 81 decides to reset the exposed bone in 7's leg. But as he places his hands on the injury, the sight of blood triggers a panic response, sending him back to the moment his brother was dying in Afghanistan. 7 steadies him, assuring him he can do it. 81 asks 109 for morphine, but when he checks, the vials are shattered. "Darn it," 81 mutters. With no other option, 7 tells him to do it without anesthesia. "Just do it. Come on, do it." 81 steels himself and snaps the bone back into place. 7 immediately passes out from the excruciating pain. "What's happened to him? Is he dead?" someone asks. "He passed out from the pain," 81 explains. Afterward, 81 dresses the wound and secures 7 into a body carrier so they can continue moving. As they regroup, 15 starts speculating that the machine must be some kind of advanced weapon, possibly a secret DARPA experiment, and that they've been turned into test subjects. 44 quickly shuts him down, insisting there's no way their own government would do something like that. But 15 pushes back, questioning why they were sent directly to the machine's location. This time, 81 steps in. He reveals that the coordinates they followed were wrong. Earlier, he spotted what he believes is the actual crash site, an old jet far from where they are now. Just like 57 suspected, their location was off. He explains that the machine is likely generating a powerful magnetic field, which is why their compasses malfunction whenever it's nearby. 81 concludes their best chance of survival is to reach the village, located about 80 kilometers west, where the cadre are supposed to be stationed. You want to cross that terrain. I hate to break it to you, man, but look around. There are no more death marches, no more RASP, no finish line, someone argues. Yeah, no comms, no flares, no firearms. Cadre are close as hell. So they lift 7 and keep moving. About an hour later, they reach a fast-moving river that blocks their path. To cross it, 81 decides they'll use their ropes to create a zip line. They tie the ropes together, and 81 volunteers to swim across and secure the line on the other side. Before jumping in, he tells 109 to monitor the compass for any sign of the machine's approach. He then asks 44 to manage the rope and give him some slack. Knowing the current will be strong, he dives in and begins swimming against the current. It's a brutal struggle. The force of the water keeps pushing him sideways, and at one point he disappears beneath the surface. The rope goes slack, and for a moment, the team thinks he's been swept away, but then he emerges on the other side. He quickly secures the rope to a tree, and the team anchors their end as well, successfully setting up the zip line. 15 goes first, attaching himself and securing 7 to the line. He begins pulling both of them across. But halfway through, 7 gets stuck where the ropes are knotted together. As 15 tries to fix it, he accidentally unclips 7's safety strap. With no time to waste, 81 climbs onto the rope and makes his way across to help. 44 does the same from the other side, while the others hold the rope steady, including 109, who is supposed to be watching the compass. I got him. Pull them up. Come on. Then the machine returns. It opens fire, throwing the team into chaos. The soldiers lose their grip and fall into the raging river below. The current immediately sweeps them away as the machine steps into the water and continues firing. 81's rope snags on a rock, but he manages to cut himself free just before the machine can crush him. As he's carried downstream, the machine fires again, but he ducks underwater just in time to avoid the blast. Through the rushing water, 81 spots 7 and grabs hold of him. But the danger isn't over. The river leads straight to a waterfall. The team is swept over the edge underwater. 81 holds tightly onto 7. Somehow, they survive the fall, and moments later they're pulled out of the water by other soldiers. 44 is shocked to see Candidate 60 alive. She had assumed he was dead, but he explains that during the initial attack he was thrown into the rapids and carried downstream. He decided to head toward the village, and ended up spotting them as they went over the waterfall. He also reveals something important. He saw the mission plans in Torres's office, and what was originally set up for them was nothing more than a simulated exercise with fireworks and booby traps. He then points them in the direction of the village. Suddenly, birds scatter into the sky near the waterfall. 81 immediately recognizes the danger and orders everyone to move. They push forward, climbing through rough mountain terrain and deeper into thick forest. Suddenly, 81 spots a tripwire. He carefully traces it and discovers it's connected to a flare. 60 suggests it must have been set by the cadre. A short while later, they arrive at the supposed village, but what they find is devastating. The entire place has been burned to the ground. 44 notices the destroyed radio tower. 60, frustrated, shouts that the cadre must have abandoned them, but 44 quickly shuts that down when she spots charred human remains. As they take it all in, 81 notices something unusual. A large clearing cuts down the mountain in a straight path. He asks how high they've climbed, and after 44 gives him an estimate, he pieces it together. The machine crashed through the village and continued all the way to the location where they first encountered it. You're telling me that this thing smashed through a mountain and then just got up and walked around? Someone asks in disbelief. 60 then connects the dots. Yo, we saw something on the TV about an asteroid back then. I bet that's what that thing was. Wait, you mean it's from another planet? Another asks. Well, it sure ain't from this one, 60 replies. 81 immediately orders the team to get the ASV, all-terrain support vehicle, ready to move. But 15 pushes back, saying they need a moment to grieve. He tells 81 that unlike him, they're human and need time to process what's happening. But not everyone is a Silver Star war hero, he adds sarcastically. Did you call me a hero? 81 snaps back. Everybody knows 81 carried his brother back to base. Big hero. I'm not a hero. 81 refutes, his voice raw. I never made it back to base. I woke up in a hospital, and he was already in a box in the back of a plane. They told me I passed out 91 meters from the perimeter. He was still alive, do you understand? He died because I couldn't get him across the line. And they gave me a medal for the worst day of my life. He steadies himself and tells the team he understands they're hurting. But right now their priority is getting 7 back to base and warning everyone about the machine. With renewed focus, they move to repair a damaged ASV lodged in place. 81 takes charge, giving instructions. When the vehicle fails to start, he explains it's likely because it's been sitting at an angle. It's been on an angle, so the fuel line's dry. We need to reprime the line. How'd you know that? Someone asks. 91 Bravo, wheel mechanic, 81 replies. Working together, they manage to get the engine running and free the vehicle. 81 finally loosens up and compliments 15, saying, "Nice work, Superman," making the rest of us look bad. Holy, 81 made a joke. Someone exclaims, referring to 15's earlier comment to 81. In the distance, the flare they saw earlier suddenly shoots into the sky. They instantly realize what it means. The machine has triggered the tripwire and is now heading straight for them. They rush, load 7 into the vehicle, and pile in. There's low ammo in this. I think I saw something back there, 15 says. We don't have time, 15, 81 warns. As 15 grabs the ammo, the machine appears. He tries to run back, but before he can reach the truck, the machine opens fire and kills him. The ammunition, however, makes it into the vehicle. 44 slams on the accelerator and speeds off just as the machine begins firing at them. They quickly load the ammo and return fire, but the bullets bounce harmlessly off the machine's surface, doing nothing. The truck takes heavy damage as the machine continues its assault. Then, suddenly, it stops chasing them and instead launches a barrage of explosives. Incoming, someone shouts. Detonations erupt all around them. 44 struggles to keep control of the vehicle as it tears through the forest. She nearly loses control, but manages to steer them out into an open valley. For a brief moment, they think they've escaped, but they're wrong. The machine was waiting. It suddenly appears above them on a ridge, then launches itself down the slope, landing directly in their path. It opens fire again, forcing 44 to swerve violently as she tries to outrun it. Inside the truck, 81 hands 109 a weapon and tells him to aim for the machine's joints and plates while he does the same. 109 leans out and fires, but in the process, he loses his arm. 7 nearly falls out of the vehicle, but 81 grabs him just in time, only to lose his grip on 7. Running out of options, 81 grabs a grenade launcher and fires at the rocky slope beside them. Massive rocks crash down onto the machine and slow it down. He shouts for 44 to stop the truck, but when he turns to her, he realizes she's already dead. The truck crashes and explodes. The scene shifts back to Afghanistan, to the moment 81 collapsed beside his brother before reaching base. He hears his brother's voice, "Don't quit." Then he jolts awake in the present. Dazed and injured, he slowly makes his way across the wreckage. Around him lie the burned remains of his teammates, their bodies barely recognizable. He moves toward the pile of rocks where the machine was buried and starts clearing them, only to find fragments. Then he spots it, the rest of the machine, still active, emitting signals as if communicating with something far beyond Earth. "Who the hell are you talking to?" he mutters. A few feet away, he sees 7, still alive. As he approaches him, the remaining ammo starts exploding, drawing the machine's attention. It begins scanning the area again, slowly closing in. 81 drags 7 away, trying to get him to safety. Rain begins to pour, turning the ground into slippery mud, making every step harder. Still, 81 keeps going. Exhausted and overwhelmed, he finally collapses, screaming in pain and frustration. Then his watch beeps. The 24-hour window is over. He has failed the mission. Moments later, 7 regains consciousness. Weakly, he tells 81 that he recognized him the moment he saw him on the bus. Years ago, during training, he knew a loudmouth private who had the same tattoo. 81's brother. He wouldn't shut up about becoming a ranger, would he? "I recognized you on the bus. That DFQ, don't quit tattoo. I tried to talk to you earlier about it, but you shut me down. You think you failed your brother." 7 asks. "I failed everybody," 81 replies. "I just thought if I could get across that finish line for him, maybe I could finally sleep." But you never gave up, 7 counters. That's not failure. That's a ranger. In the distance, the machine continues scanning for them. 81 wonders how they could possibly stop something like that. What would your brother do? 7 asks. Probably fill it with stop leak, 81 replies. They both laugh, and then it clicks. 81 suddenly realizes something. The machine has a venting system. It's venting, he mutters. An idea forms. He spots the quarry in the distance and tells 7 to stay put, promising he'll come back for him. Then he sets off. He reaches the quarry and makes his way inside, where he finds explosives, lighting controls, and the system that feeds rocks into the cone crusher. Meanwhile, the machine is closing in on 7. 81 fires a flare from the quarry, drawing its attention. The machine turns and heads toward the source. When it arrives, it begins scanning the area, unaware that 81 has already planted explosives along the slopes beneath it. The explosives detonate, and the blast sends the machine tumbling down into the quarry. 81 jumps into a wheel loader and drives straight at it, slamming the machine against the rock face beneath the cone crusher feeder. With the machine pinned, he activates the feeder system. Rocks begin pouring down straight into its venting system. The machine struggles, powering up and pushing against the wheel loader, slowly forcing it back. But 81 doesn't back down. He floors the accelerator and rams it again, pinning it in place as more rocks flood its vents. Stop, the machine's voice system screams. The system clogs and the machine begins to overheat. In a final attempt to fight back, it fires at a nearby crane, sending it crashing into the wheel loader. 81 jumps out just in time. Moments later, the machine overloads and explodes. 81 exhales in relief, but then he notices something else. Bombs spilling out from the machine's wreckage. You've got to be kidding me, he mutters. Scattering across the ground, he runs. Seconds later, they detonate, triggering a massive chain explosion that shakes the entire quarry. The next morning, 81 carries 7 all the way back to base. Sheridan and Torres can hardly believe their eyes that he made it. He crosses the finish line and drops 7. 7 thanks him quietly as medics arrive and take him away. Looking up, 81 sees helicopters transporting the wreckage of the destroyed machine. Sheridan approaches him and asks, "Are you all that's left?" Sheridan apologizes for not reaching them in time, explaining that they've lost multiple bases and that this is one of the few they've managed to secure. "How many are there?" 81 asks. "They're everywhere," Sheridan replies. "We've neutralized the first wave, but we're preparing for a global invasion." As a medic tends to 81, a news report confirms the terrifying truth. NASA reveals that the asteroid has split into countless pods, now scattered across the globe. Each pod has transformed into a deadly machine, attacking civilians and military bases worldwide. Interstellar imaging now shows that tens of thousands more are on the way, and governments across the world are launching a coordinated global response to defend Earth. Later, 81 is summoned. Sheridan admits the machines are not easy to kill, and asks how he managed to destroy one without any weapons. "Like you said, Sergeant Major, every machine has its limits," 81 replies, echoing Sheridan's earlier words. "You're an engineer, so you know even the most powerful machines have their limits." 81 explains that if you block its primary venting system, the entire machine overheats and collapses. Sheridan orders everyone to saddle up and move out. "Your intel is going to save a lot of lives," he states. "You were right, Sergeant Major. I wasn't ready," 81 says. "You are now. Your brother would be proud," Sheridan assures him. He also reveals that the other Rangers have been talking about what 81 did out there, and that a few words from him could motivate them. Afterward, Torres briefs the team. Their mission is clear: evacuate civilians and clear the way for heavy ordnance strikes. Torres then signals 81 to step forward and address the Rangers. 81 looks at them and speaks from the heart. He tells them that no matter how injured, tired, or broken they feel, they must fight for each other and for those who never made it home. Most importantly, don't quit. Rangers, lead the way. Moments later, the Rangers board Black Hawk helicopters. As they lift off, 81 is flooded with memories of his brother and the happier times before everything fell apart. Mid-flight, the team leader begins calling out names for check-in. When he reaches 81, he pauses, seeing that he's asleep. 81 finally manages to fall asleep after crossing the finish line. The team leader asks if anyone knows his name. No one responds.